Welcome, everybody, to the burning hellscape that was 2018. We're going to go over the top 10 players of 2018, but I'm actually going to put a little asterisk next to this one. There we go. It loaded in there. Took a little bit. So I'm going to do this because I want to do something a little bit different. It's a little boring always doing the top 10 players, and then it's like, well, it's going to be 3 Dignitas players, 3 Cloud9 players, sprinkle in some energy players, and maybe a Weedham Girls player, you know, and like that's about it. And that doesn't really feel great to me. So we'll do something a little bit different for the top 10 players of 2018 this time around, where it has to be a player from a different team for every single spot, and that is for 2018. Now, it could get a little weird, I guess, if like there was a roster move in the middle of the year, and then like which team do you put them on? But luckily for this year, didn't really hurt us all that much, but if we had to, whatever. It's my list. We can come up with it. The way I base my list off for 2018, it's only 3v3. I don't care about 2v2. I don't care about 1v1. Doesn't matter to me about any of those. Placement's always important, but it's also the skill of the player, in my opinion. How you do at certain events is going to probably strengthen your spot. World Championships, obviously most important. Then we go down to like the E-Leagues and the Dream Hacks are probably similar. And Gnarly as well in there, too. So those are the events for the year. Not a ton of events. Then obviously league play matters and online play matters and all that. But it's going to be a rather short video. Like, I don't want to belabor the point about all these players. We're just going to make this quick. In years past, I used to do one person a video and go for a little bit more in detail. But since it's already so late into 2019, it's already what? We're already halfway done with January, even more. We're 1/24 of the way through 2019. I figured let's just make the video and let's get it out there. So we're going to start number 10. We're going to go with CJ. Now this is never going to load, is it? Oh boy, messed that up. There we go. CJ. I'm trying a different font because it's just fun. So it might look a little weird, but whatever. Who cares? We're here to have a good time, so it doesn't really matter. CJ. The number one reason and like the only reason why he gets this spot probably is for taking on the Chiefs 3 times in the last season before the RLCS Season 6 World Championship. That really helped his spot because with 0 international wins, it's very difficult to put him on a list like this. Now, obviously, for other players, they have to compete with the other teams that make it to the World Championship. So only like 4, 4, and 8. Only 10 teams make it. I'm sorry, 4, 4, and then 2 from the OC region. So only 10 teams make it anyway. But CJ went to both World Championships, and honestly, the reason why I give it to him is for those wins against the Chiefs, those 3 wins in their league play. But it's also because he completely changed teams. He lost his best player to the Chiefs. He makes this new team. The team he knocked out to go to the first World Championship in season number 5 changes their play style completely and leads this team to the number 1 seed for the OCE in season number 6. That's one hell of a run. So for that alone, basically, CJ tops the list. Or it doesn't top the list, but is number 10 on the list. And I honestly think if they didn't take down the Chiefs at all and we're just the number 2 seed again, he honestly might not make this list because no international wins is very difficult to rate a player like CJ or a team like Tainted Minds. But for this, we're going to rate them because it showed that they are capable of beating the best, and the Chiefs showed at the end of the year that they are one of the best teams in the world. So CJ makes the spot for the different roster moves, the leadership, changing around that squad and bringing them back to a world championship, and also getting the number 1 seed for OCE. So that's where we have CJ. Next up, we have CorruptedG. So Evil Geniuses, pretty decent. This is weird. It loads so slow. There we go. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Spazzing out. Okay. CorruptedG. He comes in. So Evil Geniuses is a strange one because they make both day 3s of the World Championship. Even Equinox. Remember Equinox? It was CorruptedG, Classics, and Jacob. They made it to the final 8 of DreamHack Leipzig as well, and then they got knocked out. Also, Evil Geniuses, they didn't qualify for Gnarly, so that was kind of a downer. And then for E-League, they didn't do so hot there either. They got a last place finish. It's hard to rate these guys because I feel like CorruptedG Season 5, his World Championship, I honestly didn't like how he was playing for most of that World Championship. I thought it was rather slow and rather passive and rather tentative. Season 6, though, was a whole new CorruptedG that from what I saw. It was very difficult to choose between him and Classics, but I decided to go with CorruptedG. It's hard because I feel like the best player on their team by the end of 2018 was Chicago, but he wasn't on their team to start, and obviously they had runs at DreamHack and all that. So I gave it to CorruptedG for his body of work throughout 2018, and that's why he's not much higher on this list. I feel like 2 day 3 finishes for the World Championship is great, so it's 2 tied for 5th, but then some other tournaments didn't do as well. Top 8 of DreamHack's pretty good, but again, he finishes tied for 5th there as well. And then E-League, they come in last. So 5th to 7th all year round is good. It's consistent. I just want to see more, and I think this year, CorruptedG, who knows? Now he's going to be teaming up with Trippy, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with Evil Geniuses there, but I have CorruptedG. I'm actually going to move this over so it doesn't look like I'm looking to the side all the time. So this is easier for me. Oh boy, I'm breaking stuff. Okay, we can leave that over there. Anyway, so CorruptedG comes in at number 9 on my personal top 10 list of 2018. Next up, number 8. This one was tough. This one was very tough. We're going to wait to see when it's unveiled. It takes forever all the time. It seems like it always comes right before I click somewhere else. Maybe it won't come until I click somewhere else, I guess. So next one up is Rizzo at number 8. I guess I do have to click somewhere else. That's so weird. Okay. Anyway, Rizzo at number 8 comes in. It's very difficult to pick a G2 player because G2, they're a team that's consistent top 3, right? Consistent top 3 of North America, but they did like nothing in terms of international lands in 2018. They had that one really strong DreamHack performance, and honestly, JNAP's played out of his mind. Out of his mind. I almost gave it to JNAP's here, but I feel like Rizzo was the best player on G2 in the Season 5 World Championship, at the Season 6 World Championship. Now, they didn't get any wins, and that could be because he needed some help around him, but I did feel like Rizzo's body of work throughout was better, and after that DreamHack run, they only won 1 international game at all, and that was against Excel, a team that was kind of on their way out. They were getting demoted to the Rival Series. They were on their way out of the Rival Series, so really no quality wins except for DreamHack, where they came in 2nd place and lost a very close series to PSG. But Rizzo, I feel like consistently throughout the year has been that consistent play. Like, if you said at the beginning of 2018, who should you replace on G2 if you wanted to replace someone? I would have said absolutely Rizzo. I felt like his defense in 2017 wasn't all that great. Wasn't the best defender in the world. His offense can be creative when he was allowed to. He just wasn't really allowed to a lot. In 2018, we saw him on defense play out of his mind. They also got a regional championship win in North America, so that's something. But again, they faltered at the World Championship. But his defense has been like amazing. His offense has gotten even better. Just the smart plays, the double touches. Like, he started turning into like a mini Devo back of like when G2 just needs that flair. Rizzo shows up, or the demo plays. Like, Rizzo's been going for demo plays like crazy. But I thought Rizzo was the most consistent player on G2 throughout the year. So I gave it to Rizzo at number 8. Again, G2 didn't have that great of a year. They had great success online in their region, but as soon as it went to international play, they faltered a lot, except, of course, at the very start of the year in January, DreamHack Leipzig. So Rizzo, my number 8 pick. Also, I got to touch Rizzo in the bathroom. I don't know if anyone remembers that at DreamHack, but yes. So that's why Rizzo comes in at number 8. Moving on. Cookseer in 97 comes in at number 7. So Cookseer, to me, it was tough to pinpoint exactly where to put him. Like, I thought his DreamHack result was outstanding for what happened with them, where Mystic got sick right before, so they had to bring in Jesse, and they still made top 8. They honestly should have beat PSG, who won the entire thing in that quarterfinal matchup. And Cookseer was playing out of his mind. Absolutely out of his mind. They just brought in Yukio at the start of 2018. It's a new roster for them, and Cookseer all year round was just leading these boys. I think the only time we didn't really see Cookseer perform maybe exceptional was maybe Season 6 LAN, where he wasn't like being that super hard carry. But he was basically the MVP of the season if K-Dot didn't put up historic numbers. But Cookseer playing out of his mind. Actually, did he win MVP? No, I think K-Dot won MVP. I can't remember. No, Cookseer won MVP. Pretty sure. Like, I always get confused because it was such a tight race between those two. But Cookseer was leading Flipside throughout league play. And people forget, because now we just heard of the Yukio roster move. Like Cookseer's that rock on the team. He's the one that he might not be the best mechanical player anymore, but he's still one of the smartest, if not the smartest player out there. He knows to not give not give up the ball. Like, he barely ever turns off the ball in rough situations for the team. And sometimes he still pulls out that Cooksier magic. And, of course, he's super clutch. Now, Season 5 was another season where Cooksier could have won the MVP. He actually looked really, really strong that season as well in league play, where flip side, at first, Cooksier didn't look great. The first couple of games, it was a little bit rough, but then he led that squad where they got that 3-0 sweep over Dignitas. It's also the last time anyone's beat Dignitas in Europe, and that was in April of 2018. But Cooksier looked great, and then they just barely didn't make it to the World Championships after losing to Envy. So could have very easily been another trip, but that's also why he gets downgraded a bit. He's at number 7. He only makes 1 World Championship. He made it to Gnarly, finished top 3, which is fantastic. And then, of course, DreamHack that run with Jesse with a last-second sub. That is not the quality of sub or the quality of player maybe as some of the other RLCS players. So it was a hell of a run there. And Season 6 World Championship, also another 3rd place finish. So Cooksier 97, he comes in at number 7 for myself. Had a stellar year. Stellar. Moving on. We're going to Shawset 45. He barely squeaks out Cooksier because, let's not forget that PSG, they got a title this year. Everyone's going to forget that because it was all the way back in January of 2018. But Shawset was playing out of his mind. He was the super hard carry of PSG, playing absurd Rocket League, and that's why I think PSG won that DreamHack. He also started showing it again at the Season 6 World Championship, where he was playing out of his freaking mind. Unfortunately, they fell pretty early on. They finished with a 7th place finish. And then, of course, they went to E-League as well. Not the greatest finish there either. Like I forgot to mention for Cooksier, he also got a 5th place finish, which could have easily beat the champions, Weedham girls there. But Shawset, I feel like that DreamHack alone is going to elevate him up because he played out of his mind. PSG faltered a bit the next season. That's when Bluey left. They still made Gnarly, though, as well. And they finished 5th there as well. And now I'm getting text messages. Of course, the wifey. Come on. Anyway, Shawset, when he's hot, that's the way PSG wins, and that's when they become one of the world's best. And we saw glimpses of it here or there, but they still had pretty consistent results. PSG, obviously, they didn't make Season 5 World Championship, but they were right there in the battle for it with Vitality. So, pretty consistent year for him. I could see you wanting to move him down a little bit, maybe back up to like number 8 or something like that, but that title, I think, really speaks volumes for Shawset. So I have him at number 6. Moving on. We're getting to the top 5 now, if anyone can guess who is left. It's not that difficult. Like, at least what teams are left. I think everyone would know the 5 teams that are left. We'll give you a moment. Can you guess? Can you guess? But one of the teams that people might not be thinking of is the Chiefs. And we got Trippy coming in at number 5. Fantastic World Championship results. They got a 5th place. They got a 4th place. That is some consistent Rocket League. But Trippy has always been... I accidentally said Trippy, like sort of Drippy. I'm trying to say Trippy. It's tough. We're going to see him a lot more in North America, so I'll be able to get it right, hopefully every single time. But Trippy, consistently the best player on the Chiefs by far. Consistently the best player in OCE by far. And OCE is losing their best player, which is very sad for the region, but it's going to be very exciting for the people in North America to see how he plays with Evil Geniuses this season. But I have him at number 5 just because of how good he was, like how much of a carry he's always been, like at these World Championships. Season 5 and Season 6, he played out of his mind once again. But now the true test comes where it's like, all right, now you're moving regions. We can't dominate a region all the time like the Chiefs do, or at least put up those numbers. So we'll see what Trippy can do now with a stacked North American region with all these roster moves, and we'll see if he can go back to a World Championship where he performed so exceptionally well there. So, Season 5 and Season 6 played amazing. E-League, man, not the greatest, but they still came in 5th there as well, too. So, still consistent results, but Trippy's always been that hard carry of that team, and I think it's going to be very hard to replace him on the Chiefs, and we'll see what they do going forward. But I have Trippy at number 5 for 2018 Players of the Year with an asterisk for 1 per team. Next up, moving on to probably the teams you expected to be near the top. Who is left? Well, we got TSM, or Weedham Girls. We have NRG. We have Cloud9, and we have Dignitas. So, the next one on the list, I can't talk, is Metsonoris. Let's not forget that Metsonoris. Sorry, we have to make sure it pops there. Metsonoris, here we go. Let's not forget. He was on Complexity to start 2018. They faltered at DreamHack, so it wasn't that great. But after that, Metsonoris went on a tear. And also, like, Envy faltered there, too. Like, when comparing players, I was comparing Metsonoris to Remco and iIgnite. And honestly, I don't think Metsonoris is the best player on this TSM squad. I actually probably think he is the third best on the squad. But you can't not reward a third-place World Championship finish. And honestly, he's not that much worse than those two. I think he's a solid piece to their puzzle. But Metsonoris, he got that third place at the World Championship, then Complexity drops him. He comes over to Envy, and he kind of turns them around, too. Like, Envy was really struggling. They finished 7th at the World Championships in Season 5. They obviously missed DreamHack, and it was, like, looking a little bit rough. And, like, Metsonoris comes in and gets these guys a title. Like, they get the title at E-League, which I think is pretty damn important. Again, we're talking about titles here. That's probably why he's rated so high. Could have rated him a little lower, but he got a third place at the World Championship twice as well. Like, don't forget that TSM, or Weedham Girls, they finished third place at the Season 6 World Championships. So, I think I said Flipside did that, but that was wrong. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But Metsonoris, he beats out his teammates simply because of that World Championship bid, I think. I honestly, like, that's why I rated him maybe a little bit lower than some people might have, or have a TSM player in 2018 because of that E-League win. I rated him a little bit lower just because I feel like he's never supposed to be the best on his team. He's definitely, like, he takes a back seat a little bit to his teammates, but he took a back seat to two teams that finished top 3 at the World Championship, and it shows that how important he can be. We'll see going forward into 2019 how he does in TSM. I expect them to still contend for the top of Europe, and I expect him to still put up some games, because Metsonoris was putting up some games. It's not like he was just being carried by iIgnite and Remco and playing some defense here or there. Like, Metsonoris can put up some shots, put up some numbers, so I want to see how he does going forward into their second season together as TSM. And Metsonoris, number 4 for top players of 2018. Who would have thought that after getting kicked from Complexity? But there he is, Metsonoris. Hopefully I spelled it right. I think I did. Anyway, moving on to number 3. And honestly, could have been higher, but I think he had an inconsistent year. We're going to GarrettG. That is 2 R's, 2 T's, and of course, 2 G's. Learn how to spell GarrettG. Anyway, GarrettG coming in at number 3. Season 5 World Championship. I don't think we have seen like a performance like what we saw from GarrettG from Season 5 World Championship. That was the greatest performance, I think, in Rocket League history. And I'm not even just saying, like, that, to me, was the greatest performance in Rocket League history to date so far. Was GarrettG just an absolute machine at the World Championship in Season 5, playing out of his mind. Like, if we could give the MVP to the losing team, I would have, but I don't think we're technically allowed, and it would have been an awkward medal ceremony. But I really do think we should talk about that and work on that for going forward for RLCS, because GarrettG definitely deserved that MVP that season. He was playing out of his mind. The league play happened in Season 6, and also Gnarly happened, where it's like he's playing a little bit down, he's getting carried by his teammates, which is fine. Like, he's still playing well. He's just not playing like, hey, like, NRG could be the best team in the world. Like, obviously, they still got a second place in Gnarly. Also, let's not forget that DreamHack Leipzig, they bring in Torment, and they finished in 3rd place, barely losing to G2 to make it to the final there. And then Season 6 as well, like, I don't think it was premier GarrettG. I think it was a little bit of a better showing at E-League, but it was still, like, inconsistent of a year. But just for that world-class performance in Season 5, honestly, I couldn't put him any lower. When GarrettG is on, it is unbelievable. Like, Season 6 even, like, he was putting up numbers. He had, like, 1 bad miss, and that cost them the series versus Cloud9. But there are times when he's playing a little bit quieter, but I would still rate him higher than Justin as an overall package in 2018. GarrettG was just, he's just a machine, and when he is going, it is unbelievable. Season 5 World Championship, go back and watch it. Just go back and watch GarrettG just playing crazy Rocket League. It's still one of the best things I've ever seen. But GarrettG comes in at number 3 because of a little bit inconsistency, but can be and possibly is the best player in the world. Moving on. Number 2. Now, this one was tough for me. Now, this is going to be a guy from Cloud9, so we'll know number 1 is from Dignitas. It was very tough. I was back and forth. I actually had Torment written down for a little while, but I decided to go with Gimmick. So Gimmick, it was hard because I feel like, so this doesn't take into account 2v2s, which, you know, like obviously Gimmick and Squishy got a title there. Torment had that really good DreamHack run with Energy. It kind of showed Torment's value of, like, he can just be plugged into a team and just play really, really well and become a world top team once again. And we saw that. And I thought that might have more value than what Gimmick has been doing all year. But then as I kept looking at it, I'm just like, Gimmick is just an offensive, like it's an offensive masterclass that Gimmick does. We see him by the end of 2018 just absolutely nuts. Like, he is so confident going for every single ball. It's nuts. Like, he'll pre-jump something and be like, oh, I'm slightly off. Let me just tap it, have me land on a wall, jump off the wall, do something insane, and throw the ball out to a teammate to keep possession, even though I messed up my pre-jump. Like, the plays he's making where he's freestyling every aerial and just going crazy are just nuts. And even when we think he's relatively quiet, you know, he's just putting up, like, top 3 goals per game for whatever tournament he's going to. He just shows up. And I thought 2017 was a little bit of, like, Gimmick, a little bit shaky at the LAN and all that stuff at the World Championship, but Gimmick has been playing out of his mind for this entire year, and I wanted to give it to him over Torment for that reason. It was close. Like, Torment obviously got the MVP of the Season 6 World Championship. That I think could have went to Gimmick as well. It could have went to Squishy. Like, I think all 3 were playing really, really well. Torment kind of catapulted Cloud9 to the top of the world with, like, him starting to slowly match what Gimmick and Squishy can do. And I think that really helped them. But I still think Gimmick is pulling some of this nutty stuff off consistently, just time and time again. Look, we see the Squishy top plays, right? Where we see plays from Squishy that are unbelievable, but I feel like Gimmick is like, all right, say that's a 10 from Squishy. Like, Gimmick's pulling off 8s like 5 to 10 more times than what Squishy's pulling off, in my opinion. So I think Gimmick, I will put him at number 2 because of that. And then another tough choice at 1. Very, very tough for me. I had written down Turbo Pulsa for the longest time, but I decided to go K. Like, it's so close. Like, I think, so real quick to talk about Turbo, as K-Dop is our number 1. Like, I think Turbo brings those intangibles to Dignitas that are not valued high enough or not seen as much. Like, I just feel like he's probably that glue that keeps Dignitas clicking as the best team in the world. But like if he's the glue, like, K-Dop is the hammer, he's the nail. He's like the wizard that turns where the nail and the hammer go into something, like where it's normally wood, into paper, because it's just so easy. It just goes straight through. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But K-Dop, when we talk about offense, when we talk about goal scoring, K-Dop is the best striker in the world. He's the best shooter in the world. I'm very interested to see. Now, in 2018, put up incredible numbers. Obviously, Dignitas put up incredible results. They got 2 titles in 2018. DreamHack, they fell to 5th place. World Championship, Season 6, they got 2nd. E-League, a 3rd place finish. Just consistent results all around. When you set up K-Dop, you're just like, it's in. It's always in. What I want to see from K-Dop in 2019, obviously the big roster move where he leaves Dignitas because of, like, team dynamic issues and all that, is will he get those same setups? Can he still be that same K-Dop from 2018 in 2019? Because I do think a lot of what K-Dop succeeds at is because of his teammates Turbo and Violent Panda setting him up for beautiful shots, or just the whole team together, like, as a collective, playing extremely well. K-Dop, again, put up historic numbers. Absolutely insane. But he is my biggest question, or maybe not biggest question, but a definite question mark in 2019. See if he can put up the same numbers and put up any stats that resemble what he put up on Dignitas, because I do think Violent Panda and Turbo Pulsa, they get downgraded a bit because they're not the hammer at the end. They kind of, Like, I would say Turbo's like the grip of the hammer, right? And Violent Panda's like the thing that pries nails out when you need it. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. We're going through metaphors about a hammer, for God's sake, because Dignitas is this good. But Violent Panda, like, I thought he was probably the front runner for me going into Season 6 for the top player of 2018. I thought Season 5, he should have won the MVP relatively easily on Dignitas if it wasn't GarrettG. So I thought that was kind of a bad call by my peers. But anyway, so I thought Violent Panda was Season 5 MVP. So if he would have just stayed kind of close, probably would have got it for Season 6. But Season 6, I honestly thought a lot of the fault of Dignitas for that World Championship was Violent Panda. He wasn't playing all that well. You could tell he was just missing balls like left and right. He definitely never seemed on, and I think that downgraded him a bit. So that's why I went with K-Dop. And also Turbo was extremely close to K-Dop, but that's why you're the best team in the world, or we're the best team in the world when you were together. It's because all three of you players are insane, and it should be close. But I went with K-Dop on my list here for the top players, but it was a close call. It was definitely a close call, and honestly, I want to know what you guys would do for top 10 players of 2018 if you can only choose one player from an org, or from a team, I should say. So I think that's more of an interesting list instead of everyone having the same 10 players, I feel like, which you might still have very similar top 10 players, but it's more dynamic. It's more different, I guess. So that's what I wanted to do for my top 10 players of 2018. I also made it into one long video instead of people, which I don't understand this, guy. So on YouTube, like, I think last year, I did like top 10 players of 2018, number 4, Chaussette, or whatever it was. And people would go into those videos like, you said there was top 10 players 2018. There's only one player. Like, have you ever watched TV where it's like Breaking Bad, Season 2, Episode 4? Like, that wasn't all Breaking Bad. I don't understand how this works. But usually that's, you know, it almost always happened in a video where it was Cooksier as the person, or like Cronovi. So it's all the, like, the people, you know, the casual fans. I know you guys are not the casual fans. You guys love me, and I love you. And thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like my fun font. I've been liking this font lately. I don't know why. But that'll do it for me for the top 10 players of 2018. And this will be out right before WSOE LAN. And then it'll be DreamHacks right around the corner, too. So we're about to start 2019 hot. And we'll see if anyone can start putting their names on this list, any front runners. But for now, 2019 is going to be insane. A lot of roster moves coming out. Some just came out today. Yukio to Dignitas when I'm making this video. It's absolutely nutty. Flip side, trying out people left and right. Who knows what's going to happen? 2019 should be fun. I hope you guys stick around. Stay tuned. Enjoy the ride. See me on RLCS. See me at some of these lands. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. And we'll have fun together watching some great Rocket League. But that'll do it. I will catch you at the next LAN, I guess. And come say hi. If you show up to a World Championship, show up to a DreamHack, whatever. Come say hi. Make sure you say hi. I love seeing the fans. Anyway, that'll do it for me. This is a long outro. Goodbye.